Hello, welcome to the insides of the Commodore 1541 disk drive. We're looking at the circuit board, and what we're looking at right here, pretty much in the middle, are J1 and J2. There's J1, there's J2. And as you can see, this looks like a half moon with a line through it, and next to it is J2, which would have originally looked like a half moon with a line through it. But at some point, chances are, somebody took a little sharp X-Acto knife thing and cut the trace to change the device number of the disk drive. Nothing wrong with this, just of course, if you do it without, well, if you do it yourself and not have the dealer do it, if you have more than one drive, it would void your warranty. One would think that a place that is selling you a disk drive would say, oh, you need that changed? Okay, we'll do that for you. I would think. Anyway, the reason I think that this has been changed and then changed back is because right here is a big blob of solder to reconnect this. And it could possibly be that even this little screwdriver could probably cut that trace. I'm not going to do it though. Anyway, so you can have drives. You can have 4 of them connected to a 64 or a VIC-20, or I guess a PET. This would of course be for the 64. And the standard number is device 8. That's why you always see load, comma 8, comma 1, or load, comma 8. But if you are running a bulletin board or doing other things, it is quite likely that you would have had a device 8, device 9, device 10, and a device 11. And the program would summon each drive as required, depending on what was what. When I ran the Bradley Village bulletin board system with my brother Richard and another fellow named Patrick Cole, we had typically more than one drive connected, and depending on what you were asking and what you were doing, the program would know where to go look, because we did have what we called the download board. Actually, maybe there was 2, and where we had all kinds of programs there that you could download at 300 or 1200 baud, depending on the circumstance, depending on what you had. And if it was with the PET, it was pretty much only 300, but once the 64 came along, then you could go to 1200, and boy, that was, 4 times as fast. Anyway, so it is my belief that if you find J1 and J2, that's what you're looking for if you want to change the device number. But refer to your manual, refer to online resources and other such things, because I did a video before, and it does seem that I had the location all wrong. And yeah, there are different versions of the circuit board. This one, as you can see, I like it. It's quite pretty. Oftentimes the writing on the board is white. For some reason, it's kind of, well, yellow, or I'm just trying to see. Maybe yellow, maybe a yellowish green. Maybe. Anyway, while we're here, maybe I can do this better. I'm going to slide. There's the chips. There's the things. And there we are. Almost dropping the camera on the floor. Anyway, the little thing with the yellow thing in the middle. I would take my hand off the camera, but I can't. I'll drop it. Where it says, I think, 20341, no, 203.4H. That is where you can, if you are so inclined, adjust the speed of the disk drive. Take a little screwdriver. Best to have some sort of program helping you along, like the 1541 part of the 4-in-1 diagnostic cartridge made for retrorewind.ca, so that it can monitor the speed, and you can give that little cross there just a little tweak and watch the numbers change. Maybe at some point we'll do that. Maybe we will. Anyway, just be careful. And if you're not comfortable doing this stuff, then don't do it. Anyway, if we slide over, oh, there's the plug for the read-write head. Make sure it's on the right way around. that is, you can see, okay, there are wires there. Red, yellow. I can't see the color. Blue? Something. Anyway, it's actually quite easy to see right here. There is no wire going into the second prong because there's no prong there. So, make sure that you get that plug on right, otherwise the drive, well, it's not going to hurt anything, but it just won't work, and you'll probably be quite baffled and perhaps even frustrated. Anyway, the rest of the plugs, as you can see, you can't see, well, all you see is the plastic on the back. That's the way they go in. The wires pretty much after this long kind of say, well, no, that's the way we want to go, and don't twist them around. And of course we come to the LED. One red, one black, and that is the power LED. It is. And there are the main chips. If we move a little farther, up in the top there's the 6502. It's called the 6502B. I don't know what the difference is. Who knows? And the other thing, there's two 6522 chips here, and they are quite pivotal. They handle the in and the out, and they too, if they fail, can cause you grief and misery. But anyway, best thing to do if you're going to fix anything of any of these natures, there's the ROM chips, is have extra ones around that you can tinker with. And way off to the side, we're back to where we started, J1 and J2. And they are very good at marking these things, so be careful out there. Oh, what's that horrible noise? Oh, no, it's okay. They are very good at marking these things. Anyway, so there it is, the insides of a 1541 disk drive close-up. And if you want to change the device number, I believe it's J1 and J2. I believe it is. But, and I'll do more on this, and perhaps sometime I'll even do a demonstration of it. Anyway, all right. Maybe, because I'm here and we can, and I could, maybe in the next video I'll set up and we will actually run some of the testing through the RetroRewind.ca 1541 program that's in the cartridge, and just ensure that this is all good, because I don't want to sell something that isn't lovely and working. Well, I would sell something that's ugly. I have sold things that are ugly, but working. And, or I'm not above selling something that's broken, but I'm not going to portray it as working if it's broken. If it's not working, I'll say, it's not working. And it might be a bit of a project, or it may be parts. But if I know it's working, I'll say, tested, working, happy, dandy, glorious. And if you do find it in that you do want to add to your 1541 collection, I would certainly be happy to change the device number before sending it to you. And the other thing I have done on a number of occasions, I have sold these circuit boards by themselves, because it's a lot cheaper to ship a circuit board than the whole drive. And if you know you have a device, drive mechanism that's good and a power supply that's good, and you just need to slap another circuit board on the top, then that's good. There's nothing wrong with doing that. As I say, really the best way to test things is to have another one that's working, so you can run it through all sorts of diagnostics and tests, which maybe we'll do on this drive the next time we see each other. Anyway, for the moment, don't forget, there's two little places here. There's a ROM chip, and a ROM chip, and other bits and pieces and parts and things. And I guess the only other thing to say is that, if you are, curious about what's going on in here, and you do look around and you see, like the resistors are all, where's the resistor? Oh, there's one down there. R57. It's rather beige, and it's got its colors, which tell what value it is, and that's all beautiful. But if you do see a resistor that, looks burned, well, that's an indication that it's bad. And how would you know if it's burned? Well, because it looks brown or it looks black. Or, I guess another thing is if it's sort of come apart in the middle. That would not be good. Anyway, I will do one more slide because I can. We'll go down here because there's lots of resistors to look at. There's a whole bunch of them. Anyway, it is much harder to go down to the component level repairs. But if you do see something that's painfully obvious and painfully burned and sizzled and or like blown apart, well, that's a place to start. But remember, parts are good, and if you get to a point where a board is just too much trouble, then don't feel bad about saying, well, this one just wasn't meant to come back to life, but we can save others with it. We can. Anyway, thanks for coming. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. David Bradley here in the TV room, signing off. I'm your host. Bye for now.